Smooth 98.1, Lagos, Nigeria world. Here we are, gone past 7:30 on a Tuesday morning. We're bringing you freshly pressed. For the next half hour, we get to talk news coming from Nigeria, affecting Nigerians. And we want your thoughts on this as we introduce our analysts for the day. So joining us, of course, is Uade Ahimye. Good morning, Uade.
Good morning, Victa. Pepple. Good morning, Sope.
Good
It's great to be
morning.
here this morning.
For a second, I thought he was calling me Pepple. I was worried. And Kelechi Ogu, good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Good morning, Sope. Good morning, Victor. And good morning, all of Lagos.
Good morning, kelechi. How are you?
Good morning, Uade.
All right, we've got you to our third analyst. All you need to do is send your messages via WhatsApp to 0809 440 981. You can also take it to Twitter and tag us at Smooth91FM in your tweets, or join us on youtube.com/Smooth981FM. Lagos, that's the one. And leave a comment up on the live stream so that we can see what you have to say up on YouTube. Okay, so let's get into these stories. We'll start up with this one from the Vanguard newspaper. 2023 presidency, Yoruba elders split over Peter Obi and Tinubu. So we heard from different Yoruba leadership factions who yesterday were split over support for the presidential candidate for the 2023 elections. So the Afenifere leader, Pa Ayo Adebanjo, addressing newsmen in Lagos, said that the Yoruba body would not compromise its promise or its principle of equity, justice, and inclusiveness because one of our own, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, is a frontline candidate. So according to him, he said that their decision to support Peter Obi is actually because power is yet to shift to the southeast, saying that presidency is not a contest between the Yoruba and the Igbos. And to a large extent, I was able to convince many. That's how the quote goes. But ever since, social media has been filled with comments tending to ethnicize the campaign instead of making it issue-based. We also heard from the Afenifere Renewal Group, ARG, which pulled out of Afenifere. They threw their weight behind APC presidential candidates Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, saying that he would protect the interests of the Yoruba people. And the Yoruba Council of Elders are, as of now, undecided. Kelechi, as we start to see support being thrown behind the different presidential candidates, and just in time for the campaign kickoff tomorrow, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, first, I would like to start from Ayo Adebanjo's views. Let us put in mind contextually that Ayo Adebanjo and Tinubu have always disagreed, and Adebanjo has maintained through several interviews as early as before 2010 that his support or lack of support for Tinubu is on principle. In 2010, he described Tinubu as a selfish politician who was having wranglings with Fashola because he was looking after his own self-interest, even though he was happy that Tinubu was giving Obasanjo a front, because Adebanjo doesn't believe that Obasanjo supports Yoruba views and Yoruba interests. So it is following Adebanjo's principle for restructuring, for true federalism, that he's supporting Peter Obi, because he understands that since the end of the Civil War, when the one government, of course, controlled by a particular region of the country, so that I don't sound conspiracy theorist. Yeah, so after that when the Obasanjo won the Civil War or collected accolades for winning the Civil War, one government said there was no victor, no vanquish. Well, it feels like, and Igbos feel like they've been living as if they are the ones who have been vanquished. I mean, this collective amnesia that keeps affecting us, removing parts of stuff from our history books, and not revisiting the things that caused it. We should have had a Truth and Reconciliation Commission after that war. We should have had courts sentence people on both sides, Igbo and Nigeria, or Biafra and Nigeria, for war crimes. We should have had real reconciliation. We did not have that. And Adebanjo and Falaye recognized that for justice to reign, for Igbo people of today to feel like, oh, they belong to this country, the no victor, no vanquish claim is genuine, there's truth to it. then maybe they deserve a share of power. No Igbo person has become president since 1970, when the Civil War ended. And I think that's where they are coming from. But I'm curious to know, and if I meet Pade Banjo, who's like 94 years old now, I'd like to ask him if Tinubu was not the one running, if there was another Yoruba person running who was not Tinubu,
Would this still be the case?
Yes, because that's how I see it. I understand where they come from. I share their sentiments for equity, for justice, for fairness. The Southeast deserve a chance. Fortunately, they are presenting a credible candidate. In my opinion, they are presenting a candidate who corruption allegations have not stuck. I'm not saying he might not be corrupt or he might. Everybody feels that around him there's a lot of hype, but no corruption allegation has stuck so far. They are not presenting an Ojis or Kalu or an Unamanu or Mbadu or an Achike Odenwa. They are not presenting any of those people. They are presenting someone who seems credible. And so, for fairness, for justice, for equity, I think that the Southeast deserve to be president. But ultimately, restructuring remains the goal for whoever gets in, and I hope they are able to do that.
Okay, we've already got messages coming in. T from Yaba says, can Nigerians support presidential candidates based on plans and not ethnicity?
Yeah, I think I wanted to add to that. When people start to talk about interest of particular tribes and all, the interest we should all have is the interest of Nigeria. So it beats me when everybody continues to draw the line based on regions or people. The only people we should have in Nigeria are Nigerians, and that should be the basis of selecting or electing or going out to vote for a leader. I'm not one that is going to protect one particular interest or the other. It doesn't help to show that irrespective, like Kelechi said, no victor, no vanquish. When we continue to hear this kind of statements, for me, it comes back to the same thing that some people say they are the victors and the other ones feel that they were vanquished in the Civil War. The only goal that we should have today is the goal called Nigeria, not Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba. You just name the tribal or ethnic group that we have. And that's my own opinion.
All right, campaigns begin tomorrow. In the Punch newspaper, INEC Khan Sultan warns against violent campaigns as political parties begin campaigns for the 2023 poll on Wednesday tomorrow. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, the Christian Association of Nigeria, the Sultan of Sokoto, Mohammed Said Abubakar III, and the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, have given stern warning to political parties to avoid violence during the exercise. Uade, what's your reaction to this?
I think this is well called for. The fiscal campaigns haven't started, and we've seen all the banter and all the back and forth on social media on issues relating to whether it's one candidate or the other, and how Nigerians are taking it, for me, sometimes out of context in the way we discuss these issues. Some of them become, when I read some tweets or some other things on different platforms on WhatsApp, I become aghast of the fact that are we truly, Nigerians, despite the fact that the interconnectivity, whether it's through marriage or through blood relations or through friendship, has brought Nigeria to where it is today. So it's a welcome development by INEC. They've also spoken about the provisions of the INEC electoral law in terms of the kind of rhetorics politicians provide when they're campaigning. And because this is fiscal campaign, there's bound to be some skirmishes, but they should make sure that they ensure that their supporters are well put in order, so that we don't get into a situation that the elections have even started and we start a fiscal fight of people either molesting each other. It could lead to as much as killing each other. So let's remember that at the end of the day, first and foremost, we're Nigerians, and what we want is good governance for Nigeria, and what will take Nigeria out of wherever we think we are today.
All right, and moving on now, we'll take this story in from this day newspaper. Kelechi, I'll come to you for this one. INEC in 2023, clear winners must score highest votes in poll, 1/3 of votes in 2/3 of 36 states. INEC coming out and saying, okay, this is a law, people, let's stick to it. Kelechi, your thoughts?
Yeah, so it's quite surprising because this is what the law says, and I do not understand why like they have to reinstate that. I think what INEC has to be focused on now is ensuring that it gets it right in time. A lot of people have been queuing up to get their PVCs, and it's been difficult. They say PVC collection will restart in around December, and yeah, they said PVC collection will start in December. I hope that everybody who has gone to register will be able to get their PVCs because a lot of people want to vote. So SBM did this poll, I think, where they polled over 4,000 people, and more than 80% of the people polled said they wanted to collect their PVC to vote. However, collecting PVCs have been difficult, and I hope that or queuing, when you go online, you register, you come for physical capture, you go to the office and you tell you, oh, it's not ready. So now when they stopped it in July, so when December comes around, so that everybody who register can get their PVCs. I'll just like to point one thing out. So this issue of double registration. I've had this conversation with people like, why do you have double registration when you are capturing a database, when you have a database of people who have voted before? Why don't you stop it like front end? When if I voted before and you come, you check. If I registered before, you check the database to see if my name is there, and then you find out why I'm coming again. If it's if it's for transfer, if it's to be issued a new one. Why can't you do that front end? And experts say, or IT experts say, okay, it could be difficult to do it front end, but you could also try to bring in banks and get them involved and use other things like BVN and NIN to check who's registering, who's coming in. I'm now seeing now that they are saying January is when they are going to publish the register. That's 1 month to the elections. I mean, at least I think Constitution says 90 days. I start to be corrected because I'm not a lawyer. And so 90 days is probably enough time to check if your name is there or not. So I don't know. I hope they get it right, but I think it seems like they're overwhelmed. Maybe the budget is not enough. I don't know. They need to get more ad hoc staff. It just feels like they're overwhelmed. I don't know. I hope they get it right.
Well, let's take a quick break. When we get back, we'll discuss some of the other stories on the dock, and we'll also have your messages as well. You can send them in on the live stream on youtube.com/smooth981FM Lagos. You can send WhatsApp messages to 0809 440 981, or you can tweet at us at smooth981FM.
I finally seen the story, Sope, and I really don't understand why this is even a story. It's weird.
Studio. Okay, here we are on the second half of Freshly Pressed, coming in with more stories concerning us as Nigerians and affecting the country. We've also got your messages on 0809 440 981 via WhatsApp.
Now, WhatsApp, Victor Shell sends a message. He says, let every region in Nigeria have an opportunity to rule the country. Afterwards, we can now continue a non-ethnic and non-religious leadership. These will put to bed any agitation or entitlement from any region or ethnic group. More messages in this morning. That sends a message across to us. It says the Igbo-Yoruba rivalry transcends time and space because the late Awo and Zeke kept dribbling each other. It's high time elective candidates come out to iron issues and desist from character defamation. Very important that all the major presidential candidates attend the debate and not shy away. And Nigerians should be eager to know what each candidate has to offer and how he or she tends to implement it. I remember the 1980 American presidential debate. He goes on, and we get the message. Thank you so much. Dami?
From Ikorodu says, violence has always been part and parcel of our politics, even before independence. It's not a question of if, it's a question of how many. Oh, no. No. Thank you, Dami. Moving on.
Wow. Okay, Johnson Ladele.
Rather gory message that I'm not about to read out.
Well, Ladele Johnson, he says, Nigeria, oh Nigeria, in one voice, we want a leader who's competent. In another voice, we want a leader based on equity and fairness. I think people should just be free to vote who they want. And if they can be convinced to go another way, fine. Let's not judge folks who decide to vote people based on certain bases or biases. In reality, there's a form of subconscious bias in almost every decision humans take. How do you convince someone who's who's had a bad experience with a certain set of people that it's not a unique trend? God help us get the right man or woman to take the country forward.
All right, we'll take this message up on YouTube from Abi Bazimo, who says, I'm not aware that the East presented Peter Obi. I thought he presented himself on the platform of the Labour Party. Maybe I missed the memo.
All right, let's keep the stories moving along. Uade, let's come to you now. Daily Post, presidency debunks Festus Keyamo's sack from Tinubu campaign council. And I wonder why, the need to come debunk this story, really.
Well, because the story has been making rounds all through social media yesterday. We witnessed some of his utterances over the last couple of weeks, which, in my own opinion, haven't been what I expect from someone like Keyamo. But he has shown himself, he's shown his hand time and time over again that he's just one who just wants to talk and talk about things without having the right facts on ground. So I guess that's why the presidency is saying that, because a lot of information in that message was about him maligning, in quotes, this regime in terms of what they say the accomplishments have been, and that for me, if it's taken, the way everybody has read it, means that it's one of two things. But he's a part of this government, and as so with the backing from the presidency, it just goes to show that it tends to show that the APC has a united front in terms of pulling through these elections, whichever way they think is best to go. And it also shows that the leader of the party, who is the president, is fully behind the APC, and that's one of the reasons I think Garba Shehu came out to make this statement and say, oh, it's not true, and they are working hand in hand to ensure that APC wins the 2023 elections.
All right, news in from the nation. Federal government reverses order urging VCs to reopen varsities. And Kelechi, I had a bit of a whiplash moment to reading this, right? Because federal government yesterday withdrew its earlier circular that had directed vice chancellors and pro-chancellors to open up the universities, giving no reason whatsoever for the U-turn. With more information, I guess, to be communicated later. But what do you make of all this twists and turns going on?
Right now, it will be conjecture to say what their reason was. We don't know what their reason was. ASU has said they are going to appeal the decision by the National Industrial Court. I really don't know on what basis the industrial court decided like that ASU should go back to school and call off the strike. Don't they have rights to protest? Like, are they breaking any laws by deciding to go on strike? I mean, it's negotiation bargaining, and the government seems not to be playing ball with us. It's all down to the government saying, "Oh, we don't have money." But if you do not have money, how about making the universities autonomous, giving the universities autonomy, and saying, "Oh, go find your own income, um, maybe increase school fees if you want." I know that's going to spark another issue in terms of the cost of education, but we need to have that conversation because the government needs to be honest with itself. The government was supposed to pay ASU, they agreed to pay 1.3 trillion to universities from 2013. And in 2013, they paid 200 billion, which was the first tranche. They're supposed to pay 220 billion for 5 more years. And they only paid 20 billion. I can't remember the exact figure, but they've not paid up to 50 billion on that Buhari. The last offer they made was 25 billion. And ASU said no, they want 110 billion, which is about half of what they were supposed to, of the 220 billion, like they were supposed to pay for the next years. And so the government says they don't have the money. If you don't have the money, then let go of ASU. That's what I feel. Like, students will bear the brunt, but I mean, we should consider that because our government is broke. And again, we should start auditing these universities. Universities make a lot of money and they make a lot of IGR. We should start auditing these IGRs. I don't know why the government has not been auditing these IGRs and asking universities to bring their books, how much funds you have, how much IGR have you made, and then let us now supplement maybe what you have with grants or something. So there needs to be like a more serious conversation over how universities should be funded, an honest conversation, a genuine policy brief coming out of it that will be implemented by both parties instead of them fighting over and over again and putting students in harm's way. I mean, the duty of the university.
That's the thing, though, Kelechi, isn't it?
Yeah, but the
that
duty of the university is to create implementable theories. So why are they not? Why are they holding on to the government that is broke and not providing an alternative solution for both parties?
So what I was going to say to you, Kelechi, thank you,
Yes.
is that the bit about honest conversation, right? Can an honest conversation start if there's no good faith there? The good faith coming from coming from holding to the agreement that was originally made.
Yeah, so the government has said they don't have money. What do you want them to do? I mean, they have a 12.43 trillion budget to fund next year.
Hold on one second, Kelechi.
But
I'm sorry. Actually, let me just finish asking this question, please. The government has said they don't have money. However, money seems to come out when they certainly need it to pay off different factions that are causing trouble.
Yes, that money comes from, because security is probably top on their mind, and the government has decided to fight security by negotiating with bandits with terrorists who are holding people's life as against taking El-Rufai's action of bombing the forest. Yes, there might be collateral damage, but that's what the government has decided to do. But it is clear that they don't have money. So let both parties find an honest way to resolve the problem, aside from handling the government for money. That's what I feel.
Uade, I know you wanted to come in.
Yeah, I just think, like you said earlier, Kelechi, is let the government, hands off tertiary education in this country, and we hopefully we would see some difference. Why? Because if you don't generate money, you can't pay salaries. If you can't pay salaries, it might seem unfair to a number of Nigerians saying, "Oh, they don't have the opportunity to go to university." But maybe I call myself privileged over time. But however, the reality of today, and it's not just in Nigeria, it's across the world, even in Ghana, in Benin. It's so expensive to go into a university, thousands of dollars to pay. So let's go in that direction, and university systems will work out its way.
Gone are the days where our parents went to universities to eat canteen, to eat food at the canteen and eat food chicken and ice cream on Sundays. in those days are gone. Population of students in universities have drastically increased. What I don't really like is the utterances of by the government. Government are fighting. They are telling we don't have money, and they're acting like that. Are saying we don't have money. So what? That shouldn't be the attitude either.
All right, Kelechi, let's keep it going because of our time. To the Tribune we go. Retired soldiers protest in Abuja over non-payment of allowances. Uade, isn't this embarrassing to say the least?
Nobody gets his allowances once you're retired in Nigeria. That seems to be the norm now, which unfortunately is just sad. States, you hear the federal government are not paying retirement benefits, the federal government are not paying pensions, the states are not paying pensions, and it's just a recurring decimal.
But
so
for a country fighting,
it seems more like a broken record now to hear all this.
A country fighting, insecurity. Will this be a morale boost for the serving soldiers?
Do they? The other question we should ask is that the soldiers getting their salaries as a when due, not to talk about those who have retired. Those are questions that we need to ask ourselves. If they are, yes, and then if you require to draft in those who have served before in terms of gathering intelligence or working within the security system to help you, then these are things that they will look at. When you're not paying their retirement benefits, how do you expect them to come back and work in terms of anything for the country? So it's now become a broken record, and we hear it every year in, year out. And it's not just the federal government, the states are the same. Pensioners are crying every day.
All right, let's look through some of your messages on WhatsApp. Well, Yinka Bolu is saying, I just love Kelechi. See analysis now. Stating the obvious is knowing that the federal government is broke. What part of that spelling does ASU not understand? A copper in my office, in my department, schooled in Ghana, a public university, and he paid as much as $6,000 for school fees. Are we ready for that? Scratch that, let all schools fund itself. That's what Yinka Bolu sent across to us.
And we've got this one in D from Alausa saying, very good points by Kelechi on ASU, brutal truths. Aisha says, as our education system is rotting away, they're boosting the economy of other countries. The easiest way to migrate is to go through education. So while they can't increase or privatize public universities over here, other nations are milking and boosting their economies with our people. Can you imagine the strategy of the advanced countries? School fees, rent accommodation, pay tax, etc. to other nations. Obviously, there's a demand for tertiary education no matter the cost. Please, government, let go. Phase out the present cheap fees and focus on loans and grants for the less privileged. I beg, Niger, we strategize better.
And this says regarding the federal government and ASU issue, I was of the opinion that most, if not all, of the funds from universities IGR go to the TSA, or has that changed?
I'm not sure about that. I'll have to check.
Okay. Government has printed 20 trillion naira. Let them print more to settle ASU and crash the economy. My goodness. I'm not from Anambra, but somehow nature is favoring a certain candidate from that region. If it's by equity and fairness to the Southeast, it favors a particular candidate from that region. If it's by integrity, transparency, it looks like campaign to me. It's not yet campaign time. Thank you so much.
It starts tomorrow.
Agdebo Wale from Ikeja says, oh, the ASU federal government dance. My question is, even if the federal government says they want to hands off the universities, would ASU want that? For scholars, why is that not part of the options that they're offering to the government, that they want full autonomy of the universities instead of a full stop approach that they're exhibiting? ASU and the university should be audited, because so far I have not seen what they've done with the money that's been given to them.
And more messages. We have T from Yaba saying Nigeria needs to develop a new framework for funding of tertiary education. I'm not sure the universities generate enough to fund themselves.
And Shagun says government is broke. Government is broke, but there's money to steal. Huh.
Naisabi. Dami from Ikorodu says, ASU's responsibility is to get the best deal for their members. The government is supposed to get the best deal for all of us.
All right, and I think we've really come to the end of the show.
Yes, yes, yes.
Time,
We see all the
the
messages
time
that
has
we
come.
have
The
to go.
messages keep coming. As the more we read, the more they come. But thank you so much for sending your messages in. If we didn't get to your messages, that's because, well, there's just not enough time in the world, but we always love to see them coming in. And a big thank you to our analyst. I'd like to thank Uade Ahimie. You can find him on Twitter at Uade Ahimie _.
Yes, yes,
Yes, you can.
I think Pepple was doing a silent hill.
Yeah.
You can only catch that up on YouTube.
That's right, that's right.
And Kelechuku Ogu, thank you so much for joining us as
Thank you,
well.
Kelechuku.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Today was smoother.
Kelechuku, how can we get you on social media, please?
I'm not active on Twitter, but
Ah.
check for me at KOCANBEL and find me.
All right, great. All right, and that is that, people. Coming up, it is going to be Grapevine as we, it's going to be the Grapevine as we talk